Hey guys, this is my prediction video for Dillian Whyte versus Oscar Rivas. This one is going to be another close call, but I'm leaning in Oscar's direction because this might not be very popular, but I think Dillian Whyte might be one of the most overrated fighters in the sport today, definitely in the heavyweight division, because KOs have a tendency to cause amnesia, and people forget all about how shitty he usually looks up until he gets his big come from behind KO or you know, it's very similar to Deontay Wilder because Wilder looks like shit, gets outboxed, and then like comes back and knocks his guy out, or almost does, like with the case of Fury. But with Whyte, the only time he's ever actually put on any kind of masterclass was against Lucas Brown. But this is Lucas Brown we're talking about. I mean, okay, fine. Brown did a pretty good job, admirable job against Chagayev, but was he on PEDs? Possibly. And the thing is, I mean, Brown was injured from the first round, I believe. He had the messed up eye. So Dillian had something to tee off on. So, I mean, you can't really put too much stock in that particular win. And as far as being a KO artist, how heavy handed is he really? Okay, he's laid a few guys out cold. But does anybody really doubt that Anthony Joshua wouldn't lay out Brown like that? Wilder wouldn't lay out Brown like that? Same thing goes for Chisora. Joshua and Wilder would do the same thing to Chisora. But, I mean, the thing is, with Whyte, I mean, how many times does he have to land that left hook before they finally go down? That's not the case with somebody like a Joshua or a Wilder. They just land a huge bomb and boom, they're out. Sometimes the guys can take their power for a while, but usually a flush straight right from either one of them is enough to put their guys down and out. With Whyte, that's not the case. I mean, Whyte was tagging both Parker and Chisora over and over and over again with that left hook and nothing. Finally, late in the fight, when Chisora was tired, he caught him in the right spot, right on the chin, and that was all it took. But this was a tired Chisora. This is a war-torn Chisora, and he's still going life and death with a guy that got schooled by Ajit Kabayal. And quite frankly, Shanad Gassi did a fairly decent job against Chisora. He didn't win the fight, but he was causing him a lot of problems, and he was boxing off the back foot fairly well. He was probably boxing off the back foot a lot better than Whyte was, because Whyte was getting tagged nonstop. So, I mean, Whyte, if anything, might have a little bit of an underrated chin. He got nailed pretty early against Hellenius and got rocked. But fortunately for him, Hellenius gasses after about 2 rounds, and he was able to come forward and pound away on him. But think about it. This is a guy that Duhapa knocked out brutally. You'd think a guy with a huge left hook and there's all this power, this vaunted power, would be able to knock out Hellenius. Did knock out Hellenius. And he dropped Parker. He was the first guy to drop Parker. Something Anthony Joshua couldn't do. But the reason why Anthony Joshua couldn't do it is because Parker was on the back foot the entire fight and moving away from the power hand of Joshua. Whereas Whyte and him were going to war. They were throwing haymakers at each other. And sooner or later, Parker's going to walk into something. And he did. As he wasn't being as defensively responsible against Whyte as he was against Joshua. And still, Parker got up and he finished the fight, and he finished the fight stronger, and was on the verge of stopping Whyte late in the fight. So, I mean, people need to really put Whyte into perspective. He was going life and death with Chisora 2 times. This is a very shot, old, past Chisora. Yeah, I know he came back and knocked out Takam. So what? Means nothing. Takam was also dominating that fight for the vast majority of the fight. Literally up until the knockout. But, so, Whyte, his power is overrated, and his skill set is overrated. He's very easy to hit. Especially when he thinks he's, gonna be able to go to war with somebody and knock him out. He's willing to take risks. And if he takes risks like that against Rivas, it might blow up in his face. Because Rivas is a very, very underrated come-forward counterpuncher. He knows how to counterpunch on the front foot fairly well. He's got a very, very solid high guard defense, and he doesn't let too many punches through. He blocks hooks. He blocks most of the shots. I mean, he defends the body quite well, and he's also a very, very good, persistent body puncher. And he rips the guys to the ribs really good, and in the stomach over and over and over again. He's very accurate. He doesn't like wasting punches. And he's got a very strong, stiff jab. And people might say, well, he went the distance with a few guys like Herv Hubo lately, and he wasn't able to get him out of there. But this is a guy that was being very, very defensive. He wasn't really going out trying to go to war. He was there to survive. And same thing for Jennings. Jennings is not known for being a brawler, and he's got really good defense, and he doesn't really go. I mean, the one time that Jennings really went all out was against Ortiz, and look what happened to him, and he paid for it. So he wasn't willing to make the same mistake with Rivas. But Rivas has very underrated power. Rivas, for a long stretch, would come out and just blast the opponents out of the ring in a round or two. He would come in guns blazing, winging haymakers, like he did in the 12th round against Jennings. He used to start out a lot of his fights like that. And if he does that, there's a very big possibility that he knocks Whyte out early. Because Whyte is usually defensively open early. It wouldn't be the first time he's been rocked. AJ rocked him in the first round. Helenius rocked him in the first round. Chisora was rocking him left and right through both fights. So if Rivas comes out guns blazing, there's a possibility he could knock him out in the first, second, third round. Although, if he plays it safe, he can actually comfortably outbox him. Whyte is not that great on the back foot. He couldn't effectively outbox Parker or Chisora on the back foot. So why does anybody think that he can effectively outbox Rivas on the back foot? I mean, he might do a lot better than I'm thinking he will, but I don't think so. Because Rivas is shorter than him. He's going to be coming in, have the advantage to rip him to the body. He can duck. Rivas has pretty good defense. He rolls the punches pretty well. He slips punches quite well. I think he's going to be coming forward, keeping the jab in Whyte's face the whole night, blocking, defending with his high guard, wearing away at the body. And we all know that Whyte doesn't have an amazing gas tank. He tends to gas pretty badly in the last 2 or 3 rounds. He did badly against AJ. I mean, he did have pretty good stamina against Chisora both times, but he gassed pretty badly against Parker as well. So Rivas has very, very good finishing instincts, and he knows he needs to go for the KO. He's in the UK. So I think that there's one of two scenarios. Rivas is going to come out early, guns blazing, and try to get him out of there early. But he puts himself at risk of gassing out himself. The thing is, one of the reasons why I don't think that he was really going all out for the KO against a lot of these guys is he was coming off of that eye injury. He wasn't even cleared to fight in the US a couple of times. So I'm not really sure what the specifics on the eye injury was or what the eye issue was, but he clearly has one. So maybe he's just trying to play it safe. He didn't want to put himself at risk of getting countered or hurt or re-injuring something. He's finally been cleared to wrestle, so he's probably been playing it safe a little bit since he was finally cleared. So the lack of risk might have something to do with his eye. Maybe he's feeling more confident now. He's been around. He's been back in the game for a while. So he's feeling a little more confident. So, but I don't think he's going to, I'm not sure if he's going to take that approach, the guns blazing approach at the beginning, because he's going to run the risk of gassing himself out. And while he's shown a much better gas tank lately, a few of the fights he kind of gassed late. But if he plays it safe, boxes smart, works the body, keeps a jab in his face, look for counter hooks up top, I think he's going to rack up the points. And eventually, Whyte will start gassing. Whyte will start getting desperate and start swinging wildly. And Rivas, who's quite decent counterpuncher on the front foot, is going to catch him with something up top. And when he hurts him, he's going to finish him. Because while Parker I mean, we all know Parker is not the biggest puncher. I mean, it took him 10 rounds to get Leopai out recently. I used to think Parker was a much bigger puncher than he actually is, but it's pretty obvious he's not. And he almost had Whyte out late. I mean, Chisora is not this monster KO artist himself. He couldn't get Gashi out of there. But so I think Rivas might be a little bit bigger a puncher, and he's definitely a faster puncher, and he's more explosive. So the speed, the defense, the power, his accuracy, I think really kind of makes this a very, very sketchy style clash for Whyte. So I might be wrong. Hopefully I'm not. But I'm going with the upset here. I think Rivas knocks him out around the 8th, 9th, or 10th round. So there you go.